Right, welcome to the A to Z of the tenant to owner journey. And if you're here and you are a tenant and you're looking to own your own home, you've taken the correct first step as far as I'm concerned. And tenant to owner is actually here to be a resource to people who might need some support, who might want to find out information, who might want to talk to people who've actually walked that journey before. And that is why we're here. Everything that is done on tenant to owner is absolutely free. If anyone approaches anyone and says, "Oh, do you know what? I represent tenant to owner, and we can do this and that for you. It would cost you so much." You're being scammed. Everything on tenant to owner is 100% free. Obviously, tenant to owner is different to the businesses run by people who will, come on here and share their knowledge and experience. But regarding tenant to owner itself, 100% free. So, house rules. First of all, actually, let me definitely start with, by just again just thanking people for coming. And, regarding house rules, we're not giving anyone advice. We're only providing guidance. Please always seek professional advice if you are about to commit to anything you're unsure about or anything that is expensive. It is so, so, so important. And then what we will do is after each presenter has spoken, there will be some questions and answers. Um, uh, 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 Opportunities. So if anyone's got any questions, write them down and we will hopefully just be able to answer them. And then there will also be an opportunity to ask questions at the very end. And then feedback, please. Rome was not built in one day. Your journey is just starting. If you're a tenant, if you're a landlord who is here, welcome. This is information that you can go and share with your tenants. And if you're looking to sell, and if you're not looking to sell, likewise, you can still share it with your tenants. Because I honestly, the day that I bought my first property was a day of complete satisfaction for me. Obviously, it was in a different time altogether, but there are pros and there are cons. And hopefully, with tenant to owner, you'll be able to weigh them up and, make your own decisions as to what is actually best for you. But we would love some feedback. Once we've spoken, there'll be feedback, just a few seconds for each of the presenters, and then a bit more detailed feedback at the end that you can do in your own time. So, order of the day. So there's going to be an introduction by myself, and then we're going to have Asa Bentley, who is from Credit Ladder. And then we'll have Charlie Lambden, who's from Moving Homes with Charlie. Then we'll have Kip Peterson, who is from Wise. And then Keaton Ogunfeibo, who is my son, but he is here to talk about how he went through the journey of from being a tenant to becoming an owner. And then we'll finish off with other matters, so things that we wouldn't have spoken about, the individual presenters wouldn't have spoken about, just so that you're also aware of them. And then we'll have final questions and answers, and that will be the end of it. So I've allowed 2 hours for this particular session, but hopefully we won't need 2 hours because everyone here runs a business, but they have very, very kindly, and I am so grateful, offered their time to share their experiences, their knowledge, and their expertise. So, like I said, we're not giving advice on here. We are literally just sharing. Let's start with me, a different picture altogether. Not going out, this is in the evening. But yes, I'm Patricia Ogunfeibo, and I am the founder of Tenant to Owner. And you might wonder why I decided to do this. So, when I bought, I was extremely lucky that I had a very, very good friend who was able to guide me through the process, without whom I definitely would not have bought my first place when I did buy it. And I've also helped other people when they were buying their first places. And sometimes you just need someone in your corner ask them questions, to run scenarios by them, and we're hoping really that this is what tenant to owner is going to be. Like most people, I started my life as a tenant. I wasn't gifted a home. I started as a tenant, and I immediately became a landlord. So I bought a two-bedroom flat. I converted the lounge into a bedroom. It was the largest room in the house. I moved into the smallest room in the house, in the flat, and I let the other two bedrooms out. Um, and it was great. Things are very, very different now, but it, did I want to live on my own? Yes. Was it feasible for me to live on my own? Not really. And that is what I did. I did what I needed to do. And that is my sort of like history on that. I am still a landlord. I am selling and I am still buying. But that is neither here nor there. I have a lot of experience of buying and a lot of experience in selling. But today is all about buying and owning your own home if it's possible. It's clearly might not be possible for everyone, and it might be, a little while away for some people, but that's the whole idea. Once you know what you can do, you can start to form a plan and then move with it. So I am a qualified solicitor and qualified chartered tax advisor, but I'm now not practicing in either. I am retired from both, and I'm now a full-time landlord, stroke small developer. And I was out on Friday looking at hopefully what is going to be my next purchase. There's a lot of doom and gloom in the market at the moment. Prices are down and they are. But you see, the prices being down, to my mind, presents a massive opportunity. And that is precisely why I was out, looking at something on Friday. But everyone needs to make up their own mind as to what actually works for them. And at the moment, my passion is about finding solutions to do with the PRS, which is why we are here. We are, doing this tenant to owner um, webinar. So I, again, don't know very much about the internet and AI and all whatnot. So people who are here or listening to this or watching this after the event, you're probably a lot better than I am at this. But I did put something into something, either ChatGPT or Gemini, one or the other. It was an AI thing. And I said, my prompt was, can you do me pros and cons of UK home ownership versus renting? And I said, in a fun and easy way. I didn't know how to get that off the title. Anyway, it's there. And this is what it provided to me. And I thought it was relatively accurate. So I thought I'd share it today. So in terms of owning, the pros, it builds equity, long-term investment. But you see, when we say long-term investment, prices can go up and they can go down. I've bought before and been in negative equity, and it can still happen. So there's no guarantee that prices will keep on going up. But if people buy right, then their chances of being in negative equity or having to sell or being repossessed are that much more reduced. But I'm going to leave that to Charlie to talk about when he talks about his speech, his talk today. Total freedom and stability. Now, for me, that's why I bought when I first bought. It was the freedom to do what I wanted to do in my own place. If I wanted to paint it black, no one was going to stop me. And also, it gave me stability, which I really did want. But then that was just me so many decades ago. But then there are also some negatives to owning.
Patricia,
So, like I was saying, yeah, it talks about building equity, which I think it will in any event. It's a really good way of saving. I'm not a saver, but buying property has helped me save. Long-term investment, like I said, up or down, it's not guaranteed. Total freedom and stability, I think in the main, yes. The cons of owning at lower deposit options, there are 0% stuff. And I'm going to leave that to Kit. But there are still going to be fees, associated with actually buying. So we mustn't overlook those. Every owner is responsible for repairs. If you don't do them directly, you will pay for them. So if you have a flat, you will know about service charges, no doubt. And then there's less flexibility when you own, when we're comparing owning to renting. Now, with renting, on the other hand, you've got lower upfront costs. As you know, landlord fixes the repairs, and I can't see the rest of my screen because we are all on there. Anyway, if you guys can see it, then that's absolutely great. And then the renting cons, rent money, no equity. And I think that's the main thing that most tenants actually find very, very, very frustrating. But it's one or the other. I've for all the years that I've spent on Earth, I've not yet learned how to have my cake and eat it at the same time. So it's a question of just choosing. When you're renting, there are landlord rules. They might not be that stringent, but there will still be rules. So if you want to paint the whole place black, you might find that you can't actually do that. And then there's a risk of rent hikes, stroke eviction. And it's one of the reasons why I thought I'd start tenant to owner now, because personally, I honestly think that the Renters' Rights Act is going to make more people homeless. And the sooner that, if people want to avoid that, it's probably not going to be the people who are here in this webinar, but there will be some people. And I just thought, if people don't know about what the options are for them to own their own home, then I'd like to actually share some of that information with them.